Hey guys, so welcome to today's unit lesson. It is going to be over dividing fractions by whole numbers. So previously we have already worked on dividing fractions by fractions. It's something we're kind of already familiar with. So today we're going to change it up a little bit. We are going to divide a fraction by a whole number. So I'm going to show you how we get that done. So something that looks a little different that we haven't seen before is maybe a problem like this. 2 divided by 1/4. So it's a little harder. I'm going to sit down so you can see the board better. It's a little harder when we're dividing 2 divided by 1/4 because we can't just, divide straight across. There's separate rules now that go into account. One of the rules is these little initials, K, C, F. The K stands for keep, the C stands for change, and the F stands for flip. So we're going to use this in order to solve our problem. So what we're going to keep is going to be the 2. Now, in order to divide a fraction by a whole number, we need to change the whole number into a fraction. So how do we do that? That's simple. We just put it over a 1. So now we have 2/1. Change the division into a multiplication, because the opposite of division is multiplication. And then we're going to flip the 1/4. So now it's going to be 4/1. And now we just multiply straight across. So 4 times 2 is 8. 1 times 1 is 1. So it's going to be 8/1, or simply just 8. So that's pretty simple stuff, right? As long as we remember the keep, change, flip, we should be able to get that done. So let's try another one. Let's try, we'll try 4 2/4. So let's do 4 divided by 2/4. All right, so as we said before, we have to change the 4 to a fraction. So we're going to do 4/1, change the division to multiplication, and flip the 4/2. Now, before we go across, you always want to make sure there's something we can't reduce. So, we can't reduce 1 into 4, right? But can we reduce 4 and 2? Because 2 goes into 4 2 times. We can change this to a 2, and 2 goes into 2 1 time, so we can change that into a 1. So we can simply go 8/1, or like we said before, 8. So there's 2 different ways to get that answer, right? You have to remember that if you can reduce, we always reduce. So that one's a little tricky. We're going to try another one before we go and do some practice on our own. So let's try 9 divided by 2/3. So we have a 9 divided by 2/3. All right, so we're going to keep K, C, F, right? So 9/1 times 3/2. Can we reduce 1 and 3? No, we cannot. Can we reduce 2/9? No, we cannot. So we're simply going to just multiply across. 9 times 3 is 27, and 2/1 is 2. Well, now we have 27/2. What do? This is where it gets a little tricky. Here's where we're going to add a 4th step. So we already know KCF, keep, change, flip. That's the first step. That works most of the time, then when you have problems like this, we can't do it. That's not the final answer. So anytime you have a bigger numerator than you on the denominator, you're going to need to divide to get the answer. So we would then divide 27 divided by 2. So 2 goes into 2 one time, so that's going to leave me a 0. We'll write it bigger over here because we're going to need to know some steps. So that's a 1, 0, 7. 2 goes into 7 3 times because 2 times 3 is 6. So that's going to leave me a 6, and then that leaves me 1. Now here's this cool little thing where we use something called the hook to get your answer. So the hook starts up here at the 13. It goes down to the 1 and finishes at the 2. So now there's 3 numbers in the hook. So you have the 13, the 1, and the 2. So the first number is 13. Then you do 1 over 2. And that's going to be your answer. 13 and 1/2. That's a little tricky, right? Because now we have keep, change, flip, and we have the hook that we need to remember. So why don't we keep going like we do in normal division, where we have a 1 down here, and then we would just bring down a 0, add a decimal, because that then gets into a whole other level. So for the sake of this, as soon as you've used all of these numbers, whatever's left down here, that's going to be the numerator. This is going to be the denominator, and this is going to be the whole number. So it'll be 13 and 1/2. 13 and 1/2 would actually be the answer. So that was kind of fun, right? Let's try another one. So I erased the whole board, got it all nice and clean, and I'm just going to write up here K, C, F, and then I'm also right over here hook. Now normally we would make an anchor chart, right? So that you have something to reference back onto, and we will make one all together as a class whenever we're back together again. So the next one we're going to do is, let's do 6 divided by 4/5. So we have 6 divided by 4/5. So we know the first thing, make it a fraction. So we have 6/1, change division to multiplication, and then flip 4/5, 4/5 to 5/4. Check for reductions. Can anything be reduced here? Well, we know we can't reduce 1/5, but can we reduce 4/6? Let's think about it. We could kind of by 2's, but we're only reducing when it's the actual, like if 4 can go into 6. We don't have a 2 down here, so we're not asking if 2 can go into 6 or 2 can go into 4. So we're just going to multiply straight across. So we're going to have 6/5, which is going to equal 30. 4/1 is 4. So here we have the same issue. 30/4. It's not really a fraction, right? Well, it is a fraction, but not a correct one. So we are going to divide 30 divided by 4. So how many times does 4 go into 30? There's a lot of ways to figure it out. I tried to just pick a number and started it. Let's try 6. 6, 12, 18, 24. No, I think we can go another one. Let's try 7. 7 times 4 is 28. So we're going to do that. So now we've already used both of these digits, right? So now I'm only going to have 2. So now here comes my hook. You see the hook? So my answer is going to be 7, 2/4. Is that correct? No, because like I previously said, anytime we can reduce, we need to reduce. So 7/4 would actually be 7 1/2. And that would be your correct answer. So we know keep, change, flip, and hook. So with everything we learned today going forward, we know that when dividing fractions by whole numbers, it's a multi-step thing. We have to remember keep, change, flip, and then you have to remember the little hook at the end if the number that you get is an improper fraction, which means it has the bigger number as a numerator and the smaller number as a denominator. Always divide whenever you come in that situation, okay guys? So we're going to do one more before we break into groups. And start some independent work. So the next one we'll do is going to be 3 divided by 1 over 10. So we'll have 3 divided by 1/10. So it's going to be 3 over 1 times 10 over 1. 30 over 1. Or just 30. I hope you guys learned a lot in this video. We'll continue to work on this next time and hopefully get better from there. Hope to see everybody soon in class, and y'all have a wonderful day.